Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ginge and Pedro Show, episode 16. I'm, of course, Ginge Gingerton. Today I'm going by a tinge of the Ginge. I think, shout out to Mr. Good Stuff. Called me that the other day, and it's just sort of been ringing in my ear. Tinge of the Ginge. I do like it. No Pedro today, unfortunately. He's got some stuff to take care of, which is totally cool. Yeah. Shout out to Mr. Pedro. I'm sure he'll be listening in. I do have with me today a buddy of mine, Jake Twister, our guest. He's been a watcher of the show, I think, since maybe the first episode. I'm pretty sure since at least the second or third. And Jake, we've talked lots in the back, behind the scenes in my Discord channel. Very nice guy, fantastic artist. Jake, what's happening, brother? Thanks for coming by.
Oh, thank you. Now I'm on the opposite end of the whole parasocial interaction thing. It's pleasing. I feel home.
Yeah, it is. It's strange doing both sides, being interviewed and then doing the interviewing. I think it is actually kind of a sort of valuable though, because there's been times when I've been being interviewed when I'm like, the jitters will get to you, and I'm like, just remember that, I'm telling myself this, like, remember you've been on the other side of this, being the interviewer. So it's like, and basically you're just talking to somebody. But yeah, it is strange sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, bro. So, Jake, what's going on, man? Tell me, how's your day been? You're in. I always seem to forget this, but every time I talk to you, I just hear like the medieval bagpipe flutes in my ears. I know you're not from.
I'm not Scottish. What the hell?
I don't. I know you're not Scottish. Definitely not. Where are you from? And let's commit this to memory now. Let's go ahead.
Well, I'm what you could consider being a Nordic nightmare. I am from Norway, and it's a little bit of an oddity having a lone guy like me just like stumbling around across the internet trying to like huff and puff that sort of aura, because I don't see a lot of other Norwegians do that when they're interacting with other people. But here I am, trying to be the best example.
I think the only Norwegians I know might be those actors that I think are Norwegian. Are those guys Norwegian? I'm pretty sure you know the guys I'm talking about. The Skarsgårds.
Yeah, Skarsgård is not
No?
Norwegian. He's Swedish. But if you go for that Game of Thrones actor, the fellow Ginger, yeah, he's Norwegian.
The fellow Ginger Game of Thrones actor.
Yeah.
Which one?
What are they called? The people beyond the wall.
Really? Oh, the Jon Snow's best friend, the bigger guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Not Sam. That's definitely not Sam. Or is his name Sam? I think his name.
No, not that big fella. It's a ginger. It's got a mighty beard and all that. I think it was also in Vikings. If I haven't seen the show.
I haven't either, actually.
But yeah, we do have like small presence on the screen from silver to the box, I would say. And I'm just like trying to take over the world through comics instead, because fuck television. Very
fair. I like it. Okay, so that's a great segue into comics. Let's talk. What got you started on your journey with comics? I mean, you're a writer. You're also an artist. You also did the variant. I'm calling it the variant cover for this episode. That really, really great card you did, bro. Yeah, lots of fun. Thank you for doing
that. Yeah, no problem. I just thought that I should take the time off and do some commemorative stuff. It's sort of like a trade, between people. I think that if I'm going to take their time, I should do something a little bit special, just to make it even playing field, But I started out with essentially just being the doodler and a complete traditional moron, just like doodling away with my big pens and my with white sheets of paper. And then all of a sudden I had like a click into becoming interested in the arts. It was sort of like an epiphany that came about around the time that I started studying media, because I'm educated in media theory and communications. And I thought that it would have been interesting to like try to drive just hop into the arts. Margie Ann, I cannot disclose that. That would be doxing myself. But I can tell you that
he's a secretive guy. This Jake Tvister. I can't get nothing out of him.
you can look around south for me, see if you can find me there. But I move from place to place, so it'll be hard to pin me down. Don't try to knock on my door and ask for a proposal. I really don't do that stuff.
Hey, let's say hello to the chat real quick.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Margio and Amanda B. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. Yeah, fantastic. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey. So around the time that I got into university, I had a small little accident. My kitchen caught fire and burnt down that whole sty. And then I got placed. I just hopped hotels and motels and all that stuff around the city while I was like studying for my second semester. And then I just retreated straight into comics. I had some amount of money that I never had before because of like loans and stuff, and figured out that I should just try to retrieve myself by just like reading. And then I thought to myself at some point, maybe I should try to like do some of this stuff. So I started to draw a little bit more, and I started to hang around in communities online, mostly just like anonymous types of communities, lurked around, just gather resources, books and stuff. Then
you were the watcher. I get it.
Yes, I indeed were a watcher. And to a certain point, I had been like doing this on and off for about 3-4 years. And then I suddenly just like took the leap at the worst possible time because the fucking COVID kicked in. Oh shit, we didn't reach the 10-minute mark. I'm sorry. Now we're gonna.
Oh no. Oh god. No, you're good, buddy.
The impetus was just like to try to make the leap of doing like this local contest of creating a comic, and so I spent half a year just loitering around, and suddenly at the last month before deadline, I kicked out a 20-pager of a really shoddy work on my dad. But I had been studying really hard on comics ever since that time, and I got into another online creative space, and then I just met fellow like-minded people and just like fell into the rabbit hole of comics YouTube.
Right.
Yep. I've been out there in like on the outside, but I never entered the sphere until like becoming more networked and actually apply myself. And it landed me with a lot of gigs, not gigs as in paid work, but more like open submissions. So one of these places were the AAA community, and they had like this. They have still. They're not done. They're going on full like full steam ahead. But they published this anthology, small press anthology, where people can submit their first comic or like get some work out. And since the Christmas issue, I've been submitting 4 times.
Nice, buddy. So is it this 9-volt comics thing I've got on the screen right here?
Yeah, this is the link tree for the 9-volt, and then you have an open invitation on the top bar there to the Discord server, which is ran by a good moderator team, and there's a wholesome community full of resources and stuff. I bet you'll like it if you want to try to break into comics that on a small scale rather than to like go on full. You need a crowdfunder or whatever. Just like try to make something small, like a 5-pager or a 10-pager if you want to, and then you can be submitted. and then you could join us and just like pump out an anthology.
Yeah, and actually, I'm in that Discord as well, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's some friendly faces in there that I recognized right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good spot to hang out. So so tell me about the story you did. So this is the holiday special.
Yeah,
that you
so
published?
this is one of the first. This is the first one that I submitted for. The holiday special is had like this spur of the moment character I just conceived just like within an hour or two, because I had to create something, and I've been building up a lot of other projects that I want to submit for, but I'm extremely bad holding myself accountable to deadlines at times, and so I just like jump on easy creations. So I have submitted a 4-pager with this detective that you can see in the lower corner of the cover there, and he's called Detective Ted Tired, and that character has sort of like gotten a life of his own.
Very nice.
So he had like a 4-page introduction there, like a small self-contained story, very Christmassy. It was a wholesome, although morose story.
Very cool. So so you drew and wrote that as well.
Oh yeah, mostly I draw I draw and write my own comics, because I don't trust other people to work with me. I just had that experience of collaborating with another person for the 9-volt horror special, the Mausoleum of Horror or Terror. I don't remember now. With a longtime friend, Cyburns Comics on
Nice.
YouTube, and he drew while I wrote the story.
Very cool. So did you find you enjoyed that any more or less, just being the writer, or would you prefer, sort of just being the dude that does it all?
Admittedly, I'm a jack of all trades but master of none, and by technical default, I'm a perfectionist that wants to see my own vision in being in the whole thing. I'm just like a control freak, not wanting to let up the creative tasks to other people, and I feel really bad for not putting that aside. Just like wanting, I see a lot of people out there that are looking for work or do certain things, but they don't apply that fortitude or like thought to maybe expand their horizons. And I've been very precious about it, but that's because I haven't been established enough, I would say. So I'm really hard on myself, like wanted to do my own things before I can go in and contact other people for me to work with.
Okay,
It's sort of
so
like it's sort of like a trust that has to be built up, and I want myself to be credible and trusted before I can like enforce that or impose that on other people.
that makes sense. You want to make sure that you can do the job yourself before sort of trying to have other people do it for you.
Exactly.
I can dig it. If I could draw with any sort of competency, I mean, it's just the matter of applying yourself. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'd love to be able to draw and write my own comic book one day. That would be a pretty sweet gig. But that's actually a good segue into what you've got going, your project, which is actually quite a bit different in I think every other way than any other project I know that's out right now, and that's for several reasons. But also your art style. It's got this sort of Will Eisner kind of, at least on the text stylization. Is he a big inspiration of yours, or?
I read a lot of Eisner when I was in uni. I do not consider myself a big fan, but I respect the guy, especially his later works, because I haven't read The Spirit. But I read Contract with God trilogy and In the Heart of the Storm, and City People, Notebook, and all of that stuff. But Eisner's never been like the go-to inspiration. I have a myriad of influences, and oh, it's all right, Ashton. Just come back on a rewind and find out.
Say good morning to Kayla. Thanks for coming by, Kayla. She was finally able to catch an episode live. Hooray! Yep. And actually, Kayla and Spencer, they might be our most popular episode, followed by Jeff. Everybody loves the Death Curse gang, so definitely check out those shows on the replay. Lots of fun.
Yep.
Action. Thanks for coming by. So, who are your? Do you have sort of a? I forget now. I'm going to look like an idiot. What's that? Mount Rushmore? Do you have a sort of Mount Rushmore of artists? Like a top 4 or 5? No.
No, I'm a known remixer. Between people, and I'm constantly like plundering every single like aesthetic or like mechanic and function of storytelling that they offer, and then I see that and I try to come up with something on my own. Hey, Ictus, how you doing, man?
Thanks for coming by, brother. Total excellence as always, a fellow Florida man.
And I think Bonemeal is sort of like representative of that, because one of like the commentaries that I have released for it in the behind the scenes obviously goes through like the whole short list of people that have sort of influenced the work. I think the most powerful influence that might have been happening is the Rubber Hose cartoons, which is obvious considering the stylization of it, and the odd humor, like the absurd humor that is within like early Simpsons, and Paul Kirshner, a heavy metal contributor. He has this strip called Dope Rider, and I really love Dope Rider. It's one of the best stoner humor comics created by essentially a straight edge, really. But it's infused with just like loads of abstract comedy, and he really taught me how to approach Bonemeal from like that old field of if there are no stakes, then try to play on it the best possible to the best possible means that you can serve.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing with Kayla here. It reminds me of old Disney animation in a way. When you said Rubber Hose, is that what I'm thinking? For some reason, old Disney. Okay, yeah.
The Fleischer comics. No, not the Fleischer comics, but the Fleischer animations and early Disney. Since they had a lot of the same artists just working in between like studios and trading the same aesthetics. So yeah, they are definitely influenced by that sort of like stylization. But I simplified it mostly because I don't really like the skeleton designs from way back when, and I wanted to put in a little bit more like friendly approach, or like a friendly kind of look to them. Although that there's some horror in between there.
I'd say you definitely, the character himself, though. I mean, he is a little bundle of light in a kind of. I mean, this is a good example, I think, really of the dichotomy here. He does look like a friendly, happy-go-lucky skeleton. Oh boy! In fact, the dialogue's even that way. But he's sitting in the palm of this. I see the bit here, but I mean that skeleton looking on is far creepier than he looks. He's even looks like a nice guy. I'd probably.
It's more like it plays on the like the horror element of like self-realization. I do love that kind of experimentation when it comes to the work. While that being said, Bonemeal is not strictly a character. It's a myriad of just like skeletons just doing their own thing, and you can project. I leave it up to interpretation for people to like interpret it being like one skeleton. But I personally try to draw it without any consideration of being like a consistent character. because I think that it misses the point of like that whole like life, you know, because a lot of like when it comes to like strips, they often have like characters and casts, but here you just follow whatever, you know. I don't hold any bars to like I don't actually know these things. They're skeletons. I don't really know the characters. That's the scary part of it, and they are not named.
So Kayla here, she says, I love the concept of self-realization, which is essentially a battle of acceptance of the ego.
Mm-hmm.
This is something actually pretty much like I'd say 8 out of 10 times Jake and I talk. It's somehow comes to like some kind of either politics or like psychology in a way. And yeah, I guess you definitely. I'm not surprised that that's influences your work the way it does, because I mean it comes to our conversation a lot. You're just one of those type of dudes that does seem a little more introspective. Have you always been like that? You know, or has psychology and the way people work, do you find that's been something that's interested you for,
I
you
think
know?
the awakening hasn't really been there until that I start to form a theory of mind, just being like reflective of my life as a to a certain point, and it really kicked in on like it really kicked in hard when I came onto like my 20s, and being like lost in the like the miasma of like culture wars and internet life, and seeing the chaos just being there in front of you. You sort of like start to wonder what motivates you inside of your self to really just like go on and uh, go out in this world and like believing in your own ideas, and believe are they even your ideas and all that stuff. So I started like plunging into Jung and uh, Ernst Becker. Just recently, I started to read The Denial of Death, just like to grasp with the existential nightmare that is like vital lies that we are constructing ourselves from our childhood, and or like as children, because our
Mhm.
formative years are just raw experiences and all that. And I think a little bit back on it right now, the way that I work with Bonemeal is mostly like there's no stakes because they're undead. They can't be killed, I think, but they want to live life through rhythmic memory. They want to reintegrate by doing like really crazy stuff, but at the same time they're just like animated to like carry on with their life as it was, like trying to uh, keep in place the memories of like their past.
So Kayla says something interesting here. Scientifically, we are all souls encased in a skeleton, and metaphorically, we all carry skeletons outside our physical bodies. And then she follows that up with, when I say science, I should say spiritual science, just to clarify.
Yeah, I'm low in spirituality. I'm gravitating very much into like naturalism, and mostly just like energy. Whatever you use for like soul, or whatever you use for like just like unity within the universe, or whatever is mostly like concentrates on energy and the depletion and the degradation, and you know, the passing, sort of like it's really hard line pragmatic stuff. But I don't really like want to encroach on anybody on that type of deal, because everyone is left open to their own interpretation and beliefs and all that stuff, because in the end we really don't know until we know, you know.
Yeah, it's I sort of I don't really know how I feel about it. I've gone back and forth throughout my life on religion. Um, I don't really know. It's so hard for me to say, and honestly, I don't think about it a whole lot. But I don't know. I think I've done a decent enough time being able to split when I can tell if I'm thinking with my brain or with my heart, I suppose you could say.
Hmm.
And I feel like those are, at least for me, more useful than and probably maybe serves the heart probably serves the purpose of the soul in that regard. But um, yeah. Anyways, we're getting.
I think like the greatest motivator is
Mhm.
essentially just like if you feel that you're living unchallenged, you aren't really living because people are people are afraid to change, and I certainly am. But I know that I'm always changing. But I want
Mhm.
to be cognizant about it, and I want to have some merit of control over what type of changes happen around me. You know.
So, and with all that being said,
Yeah.
tell me about this centaur right here. I like the centaur.
I don't know. I think the less said, the better. I think my interpretation of it was some crazy skeleton dude just like remove the top of the head of a horse and then just like mounted himself onto it, and then became like a an act. I don't know.
Okay,
I
that is fun.
I really don't put much thought into what I do because I just like the humor of it. And uh, yeah, I think this is like one of the strong points of the
Mhm.
of like showing surprise, but also like surprise in a good way. It also underscores the whole point of like not having like one set of like skeleton, just like a bunch of skeletons.
So let me ask you this then. Let's kind of start at the top of what is bone meal. It's not any one character. I mean, you definitely see lots of, you see, you know, scenes of a town. You know, it could be. I guess it's up for interpretation, as you said. But what's your sort of kind of pitch line here for it? You know what I mean? Like on paper, what would you? How do you describe bone meal?
Bonemeal, I think, like when you just like finally grain it down to bonemeal, um, I think I rocked the slogan "Memento Vita" for it. Remember life. Um, it's polar opposite to Memento Mori, which is remember death. And if remembering life, remembering life has become really, uh, really hard for people, considering that we went through like the lockdown and all that stuff earlier.
Hmm.
The past couple of years. Sorry, I got thrown off by a sound here. I
You're
don't know
good,
what it
bud.
was. I think people do not click all randomly on these images. There are a couple of those that might feature nudity.
Oh, oh, no.
So
Are you
stick
messing with me?
around to bone meal, all
Skeleton
right?
nudity?
These buttons don't do anything. This is just like a sandbox for just testing out functions. What I was saying, yeah, people miss like the daily activities that they want to do, and to see that being played out in an inconsequent way, they can also remind themselves like, yeah, remember that you can still do it uh, when you get the chance to, just like getting back there. Um, I'm very precious about life in that regard because it is. I don't know. It's a weird experience, so like a weird experiment overall. I'm not really sure how to like pitch Bone Meal at all. Just like remember life, and these comics, they do that
Mhm.
in a wacky way.
Bone meal is a cool name, says Kayla. It is a cool name. It's a really unique. It's probably hard to put into words because it's unique in a lot of ways. And at least as far as I'm aware, you know, in our community, quote unquote community, um, you're the only one that is doing anything on Newgrounds. I had no idea, honestly, that Newgrounds was even still hanging around, and that they have a comic book section, which seems like a smart idea. And yeah, you're also doing these strips as opposed to obviously like an ongoing series or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's important for me to work up the trust with other people to say that I can produce and also try to like improve myself because I'm self-taught. I haven't had any formal education in art, and I studied everything on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to hold myself accountable as well as trying to show the others around me that it is optional to like do something probably on a small scale to just like pump out some material. People will call it content, but I'm not really a fan of that word because it's bastardized in a way.
Yeah, content. It just sounds, it's got a stink on it, unfortunately.
So what I want to present is like try to use the internet for what it's there for. Elevate your presence with options of not only just like going out on campaigns or whatever and ride on like an interview train a couple of nights and just like force yourself to like to publish something physical. There is an option out there for you to do this alternatively online without having the encumberment of worrying about press, without worrying about the format if it went awry or whatever, and you can clean up the images later on. It's not like a given that these pictures here are going to be a final iteration of them because I can see definitely my drawing mistakes and stuff in them because I've been trying to improve over time, but it hasn't gotten a foot essentially. And I try to be within character or being a model on it, but it can go sideways a little bit. So
it certainly seems like you've this is the latest comic, right? The one we've had right here. No, this is the which one? Okay, so what's your newest one?
Scroll down and then you see the buttons in the description box there, and then you can like browse back and forth there.
Okay.
And then you should be opening a tab.
Yep. Let me close out of this. Okay. Either way, it definitely looks like over time the like just it's tightening up, like the bone work, like it seems like you're sort of mastering your skeletons here.
Oh yeah, they're an extremely bitch like to draw. I think the first 20 strips will be looking really wonky because of the outline, but I've tried to find the right construct for the outlines and the sketches for it to have some kind of consistency. I think the 4 that we've been seeing here today are emblematic of like that trial period where I'm trying to find the footing because I didn't find the proper way to like do the designs and do the necessary renditions in a correct form. You can definitely tell with like the second panel, it's a conglomeration of like different meshes and highlights and all that stuff. And I've found a way to like streamline it now, so the other comics won't be looking that shoddy, at least.
That's actually one of my favorite panels, but I know at some point you'd sent me this with like some caption over it that said, "Snap, that one's going in my skeleton meme collection."
Mm-hmm.
And that's just anytime I see this picture, that's forever what's going to be in my head. So let me ask you, bro, what made you choose Newgrounds? Like, had you been hanging out there? Is this like a website you've been a fan of for a long time, or tell me about that?
The introduction to Newgrounds was sprung up by a friend of mine, Epithet Soup, who is a fellow Newgrounds content creator or comics creator. He suggested that it will be it would be a good platform to experiment on, and due to its notoriety of being like a place where creative freedom is put first um, rather than to be contained or like restrictive about its posts and like the TOS enforcement and all that stuff. It's a good way of like exercising your creative muscle, and at the same time you have a reliable publishing platform you could openly use and keep your creative your what is it called,
freedom, creative license,
copyright.
Oh,
It's creative. Your creative
balls.
ownership it remains retained for you. And I didn't gamble on Webtoons or Topaz or Global Comics because I thought that if I could catch an audience here who is really open to that experimentation, instead of having to go through more like genre defined stuff, because a lot of the other sites are per basis gravitated towards certain genres, and less for that creative experimentation, unless they could like just like add two and two together, and then you could see straight through my dad jokes.
No, I think you make a great point though, and to Kayla's comment here, I've never heard of Newgrounds until today. So Newgrounds is, I thought it pretty much disappeared, but I just stopped going to it. Back in the day, it used to be a really big Flash game website, and then I think something happened to Flash at some point, right? Like, didn't?
Yeah, the Flash Java ended the Flash program last year in December of last year.
Yeah, but Newgrounds, they had all kinds of games, and they were kind of edgy at the time. It was like lots of like sort of violent Flash games, but it was like stick fighter and like
Pico school shooting.
Oh yeah. I mean, they definitely had some crazy shit on there, but yeah, they were known for kind of pushing the boundaries, I suppose. And it seems like a really smart place to try to put up a unique project like Bonemeal. It's easily digestible. It kind of serves the purpose of the funnies in a way, you know, a quick laugh that you can kind of be endeared to over time, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that choosing Newgrounds also provides the feedback mechanism that is necessary, because when you're browsing these other sites that host webcomics, there's a commentary section, and you can like interact with it, and then you share it if you're really interested about it. But the rating is evident in every single thing that you do. While as for like the ratings on Webtoons is like on the front, on the hub navigation bar, and then you see like the aggregate there. Was for these pieces, they get an aggregate on their own. You can see that with the lower bar down at the bottom, where you have like 6 options of like stars. You could either hate it, or you could like it, like fully rate it, and then you can comment on it. And then then when people when readers comment, you can get like this little emoji that could be like a verification, and then it feeds like the aggregate interaction for to find out if the piece is like good on like an average. It requires like 5 votes to get it registered, like an average estimate score. But it reminds me of like that old web, early Web 2.0 with YouTube. And I think Newgrounds, for all of the decades that it's been running, I have to admit there are some moments it's broken, but I still like this way rather than this old minimalist shit that other platforms are trying to like make conform to. And
So
when browsing like profiles and all that stuff, you get like the whole package there, neatly summarized, and you can like address it by just customizing if you want the latest art, the latest news there to be present. But you can add like the latest music or whatever in the editing section of your own profile if you wish to.
So what are your longer term plans with Bonemeal? Is this something you are going to be doing for the foreseeable future? Do you see yourself trying to print any of this out in any kind of format, or what are your thoughts on that?
The plan so far has been I'm going to run it as stated on the cover there. I'm going to run it from November 2021 to October 2022. I will end it on Halloween of 2022.
Right on.
And the comic will have like a 1 year run, but I have no idea if it will ever pick up the momentum. And during, I would say, April, May, I will start to upload it on Webtoons as an alternative viewing experience for people, because it sort of like diversifies the whole thing. But I'll primarily just repost the first half batch there as a weekly upload, and then I'll continue uploading the latest strips on Newgrounds.
Right. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yeah, and I actually doing it in a year span as maybe one volume. That's a fun idea. Just in terms of if you did do a second volume, it would almost be kind of like a working journal in a way, just sort of watching this character grow over time. I mean, for people that it would depend on how much, I guess, steam or sort of whatever it picked up for you to be satisfied with it. But I mean, I like the idea personally. It's a fun play. And then of course you got the classic Vault of Horror reference here.
Oh yeah, of course. I had to build it on something that was established, or otherwise I wouldn't be a good parody artist.
Right on, buddy. I'm gonna be sure to hit all these little happy man down here. Okay, cool. So, what else you got going, bro?
I've been cooking a lot of other things in the background, mostly just limited series of graphic novels. But the thing that I've been working on as of now recently have been there's like three. There's been in the pipeline, just like doing research. One is it's sort of like a fictional chronology of a Greek philosopher. So I'll be probably running this sort of like strip slash graphic novel comic on Newgrounds too later. Another one is going to be a very short collection of like this nasty house painter, because I have a couple of people who work in the field of house painting, and they have like this horrible anecdote, just like absolute bonkers anecdotes of this one guy in his 50s that I wanted to like make a comic of, because I'm picturing it through the visor of like a Sergio Aragone cartoonish guy, about like this absolute beast. He's called Ronnie Sprout, or like Ronnie Spunk, I think. Yeah, Ronnie Spunk. And then there's like the third book that I'm trying to like cobble together is a uncharacteristically of me, it's a superhero book. I'm not big into superheroes.
That's fun.
But I really want to like do a heavy hitter that will be like meeting my needs and also meeting other people's needs, into like reflect on the past decade of comics as of like a discourse, but also remember how how the American industry has become like really fucked over. It's sort of like a second nature almost to the whole comics experience over in the U.S. I think that being fucked over is taken as a as it is.
So let me ask you, what is it about comic strips that appeals to you as opposed to whatever tradition? I guess maybe even comic strips would. Do comic strips predate comic books? I mean, I guess it's a different style of storytelling, like these Charles Adams kind of illustration, single photo type deals. And what is it about strips that appeals to you so much?
I'm not really big into making strips of my own because I'm cursed. Growing up in a country that is rife with strip work. If you want to get any shot of like being a comics creator here, it's mostly reliant on you doing either autobiographical work of a graphic novel type, right. Or you're doing strip work. And I really didn't like the idea, but I thought it would be better for me to like grow myself through making comic strips. As of responding to the question about comics as a like history, strips have been in large part just like single panel. Yeah, you could argue that, but the European Rudolf Teufel, the teacher, an Austrian teacher back in like the 19th century, he came up just one day with like doodling, you know, a couple of like humorous pictures, and then he got the encouragement of Goethe himself, the Faust writer, to publish it. And since it was brought to the U.S. As an import, and then from like creators, I think I think it was like German creators or something.
Nine. I don't know.
No, not only German, but you have the Flemish and then you have the French, and then it became sort of like its own one. Most notably, the Yellow Kid, and if you're looking back in the history of comics in the U.S., it has a track record of being like the third rail of the what is it called? Name's stuck right now. The railway, because like the comics and the sale of comics to kids when taking a train was sort of like an entertainment venue. For people of all ages, actually.
Very nice. Right on.
So there is history there in that it has been like ingrained not only through like newspapers and magazines, but also like regular comics in a sense. But this was like pre-radio and pre-pulp.
Right. So we do have a question from Margio Ann here.
Yeah.
What about Kim Diaz Home or that lady behind Nemi? Wait, that's a comic strip. Margio says, I'm not familiar with either of those names.
I'm just gonna have a look up at Kim Diaz Home here now.
Yeah, I spent like summers with my grandparents, and they're kind of like old school, and yeah. They would give me the funnies, so like Marmaduke, basically just the Sunday paper, like the color little comics in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin and Hobbes. My aunt and uncles, they were really into Calvin and Hobbes, so I'd flip through those books as a kid. Yeah, but I got into comic books early for me, so it was like I appreciate strips and I like strips, but I have nothing against strips. So
no, I don't have any against them either. Like I was raised on Donald Duck and Calvin and Hobbes. My dad had like the hardbound collections of Calvin and Hobbes, Norwegian translations. Nice. So I grew up reading them, and they were sort of like parallel to my experience as a kid too. But as the autist that I am, I was not that like outwardly and forthright with my opinions and expressions like Calvin. because Calvin is essentially like that dynamite that every kid wants to be, but he dares actually, and it speaks to you, that innocence. As for like the question, tracking back to that, Kim Diaz-Holm has been. I've seen some of that, what he's done, but I can't say that I'm familiar with the guy, so I gotta have like a little deep dive on that. As for Lise Myhre, the creator of Nemi, I don't remember, Nemi, I think. I kind of like it. It touches on like the goth and the metal like thing, you know. And I crush hard when it comes to like goth girls, but Nemi was never the crush for me. I'm sorry.
I'm about to look this up. Nemi, I've never heard of this. You mentioned Donald Duck comics. That's pretty popular in Europe, right?
Yeah,
comics, I hear that a lot.
Yeah, like Norway was a big indoctrination ground for an intergenerational love relation with Karl Barks and Don Rosa. Donald Duck, and I think one of the like scholars here in Norway called it the Donald Duck country, because everyone was reading that before the internet became like became really big, and when everything just like switched over to smartphones. And then kids just got lost into phones rather than to being lost into comics that were sold on the grocery shop, like the grocery store. Because we do have like that tradition that you guys are pining on for, like having comics on in like in front of people at like the grocery section.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea personally to get comics. I like the idea of them being. I mean, I love them being in shops. I mean, not every bookstore does it, and my local Books A Million, which is like the Barnes and Noble. It's the same company, but it's just the other version. They used to carry they used to get in like new comics every Wednesday, but it was like they just weren't cared for, and it was just a mess to sort through shit over there.
Oh yeah.
They didn't. The employees weren't comic shop employees, so they didn't really care. But it was cool, and if you couldn't find something at either of the shops, you had a chance to go by Books A Million and find, because they would do these variant covers that really usually kind of stank, but they were called like apple pie variants or something. But yeah, you might could get like a variant of like a hot issue that just nobody thought to check the Books A Million. But we do have another question here from Kayla. Jake Tvister, what is your favorite comic storyline?
Where do we begin here?
Justice
I read
Issue.
ElfQuest when I was about 10, I think, and I think the humans with the basilisk, they were chasing out the wolf riders. And when the Wolf Riders got chased away, the trolls helped them sort of to escape, but they betrayed them by leading them into the desert. And that whole like enforced exodus in a way, and not exodus, but like that their whole home were like burnt down and all that shit, and being chased out into the desert, and then they find the sun people, or like the sun elves, sun folk. That has been like that hit me really bad, because I grew up moving a lot, like over a dozen times, and that storyline has resonated with me for a long time, because I remember instinctively that from that comic, I knew that when I was a kid, I just saw it like, yeah, what you carry with you is not your home as much as like family, and all the memories are with the people, and it's that if they're there, they'll be there to remember and all that. It's not defined by like being in one place or whatever. You can still go on, and then you can find a new place of being and all that. And it was so good to see that happen in like a comic. It just blew my fucking mind, right, actually.
There's
That
brains all over the wall.
Yeah, and I like scoop it up and really put it into like the black tar sludge that I am. Oh, fuck.
That explains a
But
lot.
but then again, that storyline, that whole like being forced out of the the forest there, and being chased into like discovering that there are other people like you, but wholly different customs and culture. That really fucking rocked me. And I'm like, I'm saying it's a unique experience that everyone should be like reading and definitely introduce to their children, because Wendy and Richard Pini, I cannot state it, but they did so much to me when I was a kid. And then there's like when Woodcutter was forced to, I think it was, he was forced to do something, and then he had to lose like almost everything in like one journey of him. I don't remember why exactly he had to, but he had to like go on like an adventure or something, and then he just like grew as his own individual, and he lost his wolf, and he couldn't bring his best buddy along for a while because he got poisoned and had to be sent back. So you guys like really lost into like the world, and then he got like damaged or poisoned, and then he had to be recovered by humans, and it's like, fuck. He learns that there are other humans that are compassionate and caring for the elves.
I've never read Elf Quest. I go to the library a lot, and I know they've got the first couple like large volumes of it. I've never picked it up, but I mean, it certainly sounds like something I'd be interested in.
If you want like great antagonists, sorry, I have to cut in there, but if you want a great female antagonist, Willowin will make you shit bricks. Holy fuck! That leader of like the flying folk, or like the flying elves, Jesus Christ! It's brief, but she's like a recurring antagonist after like her whole after that whole like arc, and man. That made me like see that is sort of like the bar that I set when I see a female antagonist or like a female villain done right.
I can dig that. I mean, a female villain done right is, you can't argue with just a well done character, honestly, like regardless of the race. I'm loving the art style. I don't know what to call it exactly. It feels like a sort
it's
of
a fusion of manga, yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely digging it. Yeah, very cool. So you said you would recommend this for children, even just in terms of like
I read it when I was a kid, and I didn't come out scarred. I learned sex, I learned violence, I learned practically a lot of things. That there she is.
Right on. Oh, okay, this is
Christ.
What's her name again?
Willowin.
Oh, okay, I see. Right on,
you
bro.
You can see this is her. This is the post. That post arc when she's like cast away from her people. She's also like a Puritan. She doesn't want like race mixing and shit.
Interesting. Very cool. Well, not that that's cool, but you get what I'm saying. Okay. Man. All right. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything else? We're coming up here on the hour, Mr. Twister. Do you have is there any other things you want to share, or anything you want to drop with the chat? Any give us something? Anything else?
Yeah, coming days I'll probably add another thing on Newgrounds, or I will probably announce it on Twitter too, that I'll be promoting my guy Rocket Ship Evan, or Evan Hill, and he's doing his own strip work on Newgrounds now after being motivated, I think, from seeing my approach to it. He's doing his own strip called Treasure of the Robo King, which is an adventure / sci-fi book strip work. It's really good. You follow like multiple cast members. You got like a cattle baron, vampire cattle baron, and then you have like two adventurers, really young and very like upbeat, but way ahead over their head, sort of. And I'll be adding a cross promotional banner for like latest strips, so that people can read a couple of other works while they're waiting for new Bonemeals. And I'll be announcing. I'll be cross reference or like cross posting and promoting him, because he really knocks it out of the park when it comes to like the drawing and style that it does. I think he's influenced by Akira Toriyama, the guy behind Dragon Ball, and certainly Sergio Aragone. And
very nice.
Yeah, it's a romp.
Is his page up yet? Could we? Is it?
His page is up. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to put it in the private chat real quick? I'd like to take a look.
Hold on. Just gonna have to.
We got some time to hang out. And thank everybody for coming by, hanging out with us.
Oh, that was your profile.
I've just been.
If there are any questions, if there are any questions from the audience, I'll take that too. Here we go. Check the private chat.
Yes, here we go. All right. Alrighty. Let me share this. Rocket ship Evan. Okay. Hey, very nice. Oh man.
And I'm sorry, I'm cursed forever with a vocal scratch and all that screeching shit. I'm also,
you noisy bastard.
I also want to promote my guy Sideburns. You can read his comic Chad Chihuahua all for free on Webtoons.
Chad Chihuahua. It's
a fun book, I promise you. And since she quit social media, I think that I need to promote my my gal Styx Color. She is doing excellent work as well. She's got her own homepage where she's doing a cyberpunk horror slasher, which is called Street Prey, which is also hosted on her own website, because she's fortunate to have her own hosting rather than to rely on sites like me. So yeah.
Just taking a look at the treasures of the Robo King here.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. So how did you meet Mr. Evan here? I'm sorry if you
I met Evan
that.
through AAA.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Which we do have, for anybody interested in the chat or in the replay, in that in the description of the video, there should be in the YouTube chat, there should be that 9-volt should be the link to that, and you'll be able to get into the Discord. It's good stuff. All right, very cool. Let's take a look at this Chad Chihuahua, bro. Actually, I was watching. I'm still watching it. I think that there's maybe like 2 or 3 episodes left. I've pretty much hated everything Marvel has put out in terms of movies and television. I honestly liked Ant-Man. I liked both the Ant-Man movies. Those are my favorite out of all of the the big movies. But Hulu has this thing they just put out called Hit Monkey, and it's based off of,
they done a thing on that. I didn't know.
Oh, dude, it is.
I'm a Deadpool whale, but I never knew.
It is brilliant, dude. I honestly don't like Deadpool very much at all. And you don't see him in this show, and I don't know what the sort of overarching connection is with Hitmonkey and Deadpool, but
so Daniel Way had like a 4-issue limited series with Hitmonkey, and he made an appearance when Way was in the when was doing his run with Deadpool back in between 2009 and 2012.
Do you think Mr. Sideburns would mind if I gave this a click here and
None at all.
just scroll?
None at all.
Okay,
Scroll through.
yeah, man. Chad
So
Chihuahua,
basically,
let's see.
Chad Chihuahua is sort of like Crash Bandicoot,
Okay.
but on I would describe it as Crash Bandicoot on indie juice. Um,
I'm
he
loving the shapes here. I'm getting like kind of a Mignola sort of feel. Maybe not, but heavy shadow there. Go on,
so
sorry.
he's a so Chad is sort of like an experiment gone wrong in a way, and yeah, I can't really express how much I love that character. Which is one of the reasons why I picked Sideburns as my first artist to collaborate with.
Very nice.
He's an Australian, not Chad, but Sideburns himself.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, Jacob, my homie. Let's see. Let's pull him off the wall here. Oh, Jesus. Just a little shout out to Jacob. Mr. Whittingham, if you're watching, thanks for joining us. Get out of here. Anyways, alrighty. Well, great show, Jake. Thanks for coming by, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
It up here. Sorry to be so abrupt there. Nope. No. Yeah, Bonemeal, everybody, on newgrounds.com. All the links are in the description. I've been a fan of Bonemeal. Jake's been showing me the stuff behind the scenes. It's a fun book, or it's a fun strip. I'm sure if it ever gets collected, it would make a fun book. I'm excited to see how this whole thing evolves. I'm sure it'll stay in like strip form, but I'm excited to see what you do with it and how big it ends up being one day. So God bless you for coming, Mr. Twister.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for showing up, people in the chat, and look forward to providing you with more bone meals in the next couple of Fridays at 3 p.m. CT. I will do a run with like a year run, but if it is interesting enough for people to pick up on and just like want more, I got like 200 other thumbnails and ideas that I could like shove out for people to read. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, I definitely hope we get to see those. And yeah, everybody go check out Bonemeal. It's free to sign up on Newgrounds. It's free to give Jake a follow and I guess a like, or just all that stuff. Yeah, thanks for coming by, everybody. Thanks for watching. And Jake, if you want to, I'm gonna bump you to the back. If you want to hang out for a sec, we'll chat for a moment. But all right, everybody, it'll be Pedro will be back next week. It'll be the Ginge and Pedro show yet again. We have David Chiza on next week, so that'll be fun. Talking Rad Rose for sure. Going to be talking story. David's a really fantastic storyteller and knows his craft and knows his ins and outs of world building. So I'm actually personally, as a writer, I'm excited to sort of peer behind the curtain and get to pick Dave's brain a little bit. So that'll be good. Yeah, next Sunday, 10 a.m. right here on the Ginge and Pedro show.